But as they're getting into the early stages of this first game, what I would like to say is that, I've heard a few people say she has an unusual bat and she relies, but having watched her very closely in commentary and yesterday, she is an excellent player. She uses the bat to great effect. Yes, she uses the pimples. Yes, she blocks with them, but she's positive. She twiddles. She plays with the reverse side of her bat on the backhand side. She looks to topspin. I've seen her run round her backhand to play forehand. She'll play backhands from the forehand side of the table. She goes down the lines. So yes, it's awkward. Of course it's awkward because she's producing different spins, but she does it in a really positive way. And I'm not saying she'll be another Carl Preet. Just look at that. I mean, she took the ball there with the reverse, top of the bounce, used the elbow and wrist, and that was just a perfect flick. I think it's going to be tough for her against Tintin. I know Tintin practices against a player with a very similar style in Austria, so that helps when you're used to playing against the style. But I will not have it that she's relying on her bat. She's using that racket to maximum effect. She's playing really positive. And Craig Bryant and the Eula Plymouth Club need to take great credit for that. She's an excellent player. 15 years of age, playing in her first ever English National Championships. Wow, and here she is in the final.
5-2. Yeah, indeed. For some of the older table tennis fans, reminds me of Carl Preen. Long pimples on one side and fast reverse rubber on the other side. Tintin, though, will be used to it. And Tintin indeed plays two surfaces herself. She plays short pimples and Tintin will also twiddle. So they're both playing with two different coverings. Tintin, wonderful backhand there, playing with the classical penhold grip, and Mari with the shake hands grip. 7-3. So you'd have to say, Don, that you'd expect a 4-0 victory for Tintin. She's 3 times champion. She's won 12 singles and doubles titles at senior level, Tintin, at the tender age that she's still at herself. But whatever happens, fantastic experience for Mari. So 6 years in age between them. Mari at just 15, and Tintin, seasoned professional in relative terms and in absolute terms at age 21, top 100 in the world.
But where Tintin's done well with the penhold grip is the traditional penhold grip only ever used to use one side of the racket.
Yeah.
And then we've had players coming along developing the reverse, using the backhand side of the racket and playing some amazing shots with the reverse side. And Tintin's moved with the time. She's developed her game. As you pointed out, she does play with pimples, but she has reverse rubber on the other side. She twiddles there when she serves. She serves with the reverse and then plays with the short pimples on the forehand. And there she was just quite superb. She plays against this style in Austria. She has a teammate who plays in a very similar way to Mary Baldwin. So it was always going to be tough. But as you said, Colin, what an experience. And there, Craig Bryant, the coach who's in the corner. Craig, a former England junior #1. Top 10 senior player was Craig, Commonwealth medalist. A very well-respected coach. Has done a super job, as indeed as the club down in Plymouth, the Eula Club in Plymouth. So it's going to be tough for, as you say, Colin. 4-0 is probably the favourite score. Let's hope she can put up a great performance. But let's not knock the fact that she's made it to the final at her first National Championships. I think that's a record.
Yeah, could well be. Could well be. So Mari getting a bit of extra advice there from Craig Bryant. He's done a great job with her. So Mari from Oakhampton, and she hasn't even taken her GCSEs yet. Sorting out her mocks at the moment. I said, are you going to have to slow down your table tennis training? She said, well, a little bit. I already have had to. So she's playing pretty well considering.
It's interesting,
Tintin serving at the start of the second game.
That table tennis players, of course, it's not a sport like soccer where there's enormous financial rewards, and it is important to pursue your education as well. So it's a very sensible thing to do. And you look at Tintin on that side. She's here at Nottingham University doing her medical degree, as well as being an accomplished musician. An amazing youngster, an inspiration to youngsters her own age of what you can achieve if you work hard.
2-1. Yeah. So Mari not overawed at all. Good start at the start of the second game. Got some famous fans in the audience by the look of it. Now that just popped up a little bit, and Tintin not having the same difficulty with the long pimple that some of the other girls have had so far in this championships. A little bit more experience with it. And that's a great shot by Mari. Chose to use the pimple, slowed the ball down. Tintin not able to read the fact that the ball was decelerating.
That was almost reminiscent of Carl Preen.
It is a Carl Preen shot, isn't it?
With the punch.
Indeed. And Carl Preen actually has helped Mari over the years. I don't know if many people are aware of that, but Mari used to be around Brighton way, and Carl from the Isle of Wight. And they got together in times past to help Mari to understand what's going on and what's going to be awkward for people, and then how to get the power shots in. So, looking good for the future.
That's what other players haven't been able to do. The ball with no spin on from the pimples, to hit through it. They've been lifting it and it's been going off the end of the table. So
Mari's keeping her quiet, really, in the second game. Tintin not perfectly comfortable.
Again, if I was Mari's coach, I'd be nodding my head. She went for a good forehand flick out wide to Tintin's forehand. It was the right thing to do. It just missed.
That's a beautiful shot. You see the decision making of Mari, very, very close. She's able to keep a clear mind under pressure. Good backspin on that serve. Just need to take the pace off of that one. It's close to the net. She's able to swing a topspin in, but it's not far to the end of the table down that line. So Mari hanging on, 5-7 down, 8-5 now to Tintin.
Good long fast serve there with backspin into the body. And Baldwin not quite getting into position, played from a very cramped position. There's that. It's hard to describe that. It's not a flick, it's a punch, for want of a better word. She just hits through the back of the ball very effectively.
Good spin up from Mari, good follow up, nice angles. One side and the other, look at that, terrific play. That's the back of the head of Marcus Gustafsson from the Table Tennis England performance team. He'll be really, really interested to see what's going on here, both in terms of Tintin's ability to hold her standard while she's studying medicine and improve and get herself further into the top World 100, and at the same time, obviously look at Mari's progress.
Two good aggressive shots from Tintin, gives her 3 game points, 10-7 in this second game, having won the first game.
11-7.
And there it is, the second game. 11 points to 7 in favour of Tintin. She returns to the corner to Dad, who does a sterling job in that corner. And there we have on the left of the screen Mari's coach, Craig Bryant. So a bit better performance there, Colin, in the second game by the youngster.
Yeah, she got into it. Yeah, Tintin was having plenty of trouble first half of the game, and she just got a couple of points ahead. If Mari can stay with her, I can imagine her winning a game, and I think she's played some great stuff. Hello, the Royals are here. I mean Jill Parker by that, of course. And that comes up there. Lovely shot. There, Mari generating the power, one to each side, getting good angles. Which way is it going? Last minute change of direction. Tintin couldn't guess it. Well-earned point for Mari, but Tintin's really making Mari work hard for every point that she gets. Mari isn't in this game getting any quick points in the early part of the rallies to give her easier points, cheaper points. She's having to work hard for everything, Mari, but she's certainly trying to keep her own consistency. But look at the quality of that backhand topspin from Tintin. That's another level, isn't it?
And that was the reverse side of the racket as well.
It was.
So it's the sort of new development of the penalty. When I say new, it's been over the last 15 years, but you go back to the late 90s and the early 21st century, players only used one side. And then Wang Hao, Marlin, now Shu Xin, the great Chinese players, used both sides of the rackets. The penhole grip was disappearing, basically, because you could pin people down on the backhand side. Oh, see, there we go. Classic reverse backhand topspin using the backhand side of the racket.
So penholders out there, that's how to get power with your backhand. Traditionally thought of as the weaker side, not for Tintin.
1-4.
Mari having to have a bit of a think here. The difficulty, of course, for Mari at her age is that she's not going to have quite the weapons to get through. And that just means that Tintin can play a little bit more conservatively without being under too much threat. Good, Mari.
But it's interesting with the listening to Mari play that she's fighting. She still thinks she's in there with a chance. She's celebrating when she wins a point, the clenched fist, punching in the air, which is good to see. That was a good return of serve on the white line.
Great depth, wasn't it?
A little bit of side spin on the return of service there from Tintin. Very clever, used her wrist, came across and underneath the ball. Dad making notes there.
That's a lovely shot from Mari. Like you say, Don, you know, so much of the time we're teaching players to spin up the top of the ball and get backspin deeply underneath it, and then Mari's pushing through the back of the ball, and it's unusual for players to receive these days. What a great side spin. So good power, but she put the side spin on it, so as Tintin was running across to it, the ball was going even further away from her. Good thinking, Mari.
Alan Cook there. Commonwealth champion several times, English champion many times.
5-8.
So Mari not able to get a lead at any point in this match.
8-6.
But creditable fight, not letting Tintin get away and beat her easily. Making her work for everything. That's a good punch. You saw that Mari there twiddled, turned the bat around, used the red side, punched it down the line.
But there, that just shows Tintin is
Tintin's
very
class.
accomplished against this style.
That's a great shot. And Mari getting a taste of her own medicine there with a lovely fast ball and then a drop shot from Tintin. So that just shows the experience of the girl from Paddington, the older girl. Oh, and there's this big side spin backhand loop from Tintin, 3-love. Mari just trying to find a way. She'd love just to take a game in this match. So throws the towel over the shoulder. Let's see if Craig's got any inspiration or bright ideas for her. Meantime, Charles is not letting up, the usual. Plenty to say to Tintin. You can see Mari's touch is good, the placement's strong, but Tintin just a little bit more trained up, a little bit more professional. Her body's a little bit more mature, so she's got the explosive power, and that just carries a little bit more distance onto the ball.
That was good to see there, that last point on the replays.
Good for both players, wasn't it?
Playing it down the line. So she's brave, she's fighting, she's playing in her first national championships, and she's doing wonderfully well. And hopefully learning from this experience. It's the national championships, women's singles final. Remember this time last year, she was playing cadet table tennis. And here she is in the women's singles final, up against a player who is used to playing against her particular style.
To serve, Laval.
And even though she's down and she's always been behind, she's fighting for every point, putting up a very creditable performance. Didn't quite read the spin there, didn't? Just has to lift a little bit when there's heavy backspin on the ball.
1-all.
So Tintin, 2016, 17 and 18 women's singles champion. Last year, Maria Sapsinos took the title, but is injured this year. But no real hole in the draw for Mari. She's had to beat Denise Pyatt. And she's had to beat Emily Bolton to get here. So terrific performances from Mari. Be interested to see Mari play Maria when Maria comes back from injury.
Funny enough, I commentated with Maria Sapsinos this morning when Mari was playing, and I asked her, "What did you?" She said, "What do you think?" And she said, "Well, I've never played against Mari before, and it's very difficult to know about the spins." And so there was a little apprehension there. But of course, Maria Sapsinos is an excellent player.
Yeah.
And of course, the current national champion. But timeout called by, I'm sure, by
Craig.
Bryant.
I've seen him do that a few times when Mari's been in trouble.
But I think here it's just an opportunity to just tell her to make the most of it. Keep Tintin out there as long as you possibly can. Keep being positive. Keep going for your shots. Doesn't matter what the score is. And I have to say, I've been very impressed by Mari Baldwin, both her mental approach to the game. She's not been phased out. She goes out there. She does her best. Easy to say she has a funny bat, and yes, she does. It's unusual.
But so does Tintin to a degree.
Of course she does. So, very impressed, and she is a very creative player. You've already said it, Colin. Thinks well under pressure. She fights. She's twiddling that bat all the time.
Yeah, not easy to do and play with. Everyone's tried that. To be able to change the grip, turn the bats around, play with a completely different surface so that the ball slides off the bat very, very differently. It's not easy to play against, but it's very hard to do effectively. You just see the forehand power of Tintin. We've seen a couple of big backhand flourishing loops from Tintin. That time it's the turn of the forehand. Was that a thick edge?
Oh, that was a lovely return of serve there. The sort of almost banana, penhole grip banana backhand there. So side spin, using the wrist well, coming around with the wrist action like the shape of a banana, hence the christening of that shot as the banana backhand.
So we're able to see now the class of Tintin Ho. She's not let Mari get any real traction in this match. The odd mistake like that one, but overall Tintin's been a class act today, not only in this match but also in her semi-final against Molly Patterson, which she won. She actually lost the first and then won 4 games to 2. Before that she had to play Charlotte Bardsley. No mean feat to beat Charlotte Bardsley these days, and she beat Charlotte 4-0, 7-10, 5-5. And if you know how good Charlotte is, you'll know therefore how good Tintin is. So 3 points away from the National Championships for the 4th time for Tintin Ho. And at the tender age of only 21 and surrounded by a crop of good women she competes against regularly.
5-9.
And Tintin disappointed at that one. She's up. She's not been in trouble. She may not be in trouble, but still she's requiring that quality of herself. That's off the top of the net. Mari gets it back. Can she finish it off here? Tintin knows how to defend. Oh, great lobbing.
It's good to see Mari here fighting for every point. It's exactly what I would want to see from a player I was coaching, working with, if they were in this situation, fighting for every point. There she was, long push. I think not quite as long as it could have done, but the intention was there. Championship points now, 4 of them for Tintin Ho.
Dad's nodding. Finish it with the first one, Tintin. She does it. And there we have it. Great game. 4-0. Tintin Ho against Mari Baldwin. 2 players that play with combination bats and change during a rally the side of the ball they're hitting. Of course, they're red and black, so you can see which side they're using. And that's 11-6 in the 4th and final game. All credit to Mari, but the star of the day, Tintin Ho. Well played, Tintin. Congratulations from Craig Bryant down in Devon coaching away. So big shout out for Eula Plymouth and to Craig for all the effort they're putting in as part of Mari's development. And that looks good for the future of women's table tennis, and that will help to raise the game of a whole crop of good women players that we've got at the moment. But for now, 4th time women's singles champion, Tin Tin Ho. Some lovely play there from Tin Tin. Big power on the forehand. And I think the reading of the spin was just as good by Tin Tin, Don, and the big power was stronger.